Hey y'all, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be recapping the latest episode of Sister Wives. And y'all, let me just say, if you've not already seen this episode, I highly recommend you go and check it out at your earliest convenience because in my personal opinion, it is the best episode of the season. Not only do we see all of the sister wives, minus Mary, hit their final breaking point with Cody in his most recent dictatorship over the family, but we also see Cody's own children taking a stand against him and his rules as well, and it's looking like they're not gonna back down. We're gonna get into all of that and so much more, but before we do, I wanted to take a second to acknowledge last week's recap video. I noticed that there were a few comments in the comment section talking about how Cody's rules really didn't seem to be that severe or extensive, and they didn't really understand why the family was making such a big deal about abiding by these rules. And I just wanted to take a second to say I agree. Most of Cody's rules when it comes to COVID is basic CDC rules that all of us are supposed to be abiding by, but there are a few, in my personal opinion, that's a little bit of a stretch, a little too far left field. I also believe that it's more so a challenge for the Brown family because they are such a large family. For example, when it comes to Robyn and Cody and their kids, it's really easy for them to follow these rules because their kids are small, they're in the home with them, and they already know they have to abide by whatever mommy and daddy says. But when it comes to all the other children, it's a little bit different because they are grown, most of them live on their own, and the ones that do live at home, they do have their own lives, their own girlfriends, jobs, things of that nature. So it's not necessarily the fact that the rules are so insane, but it's more so the fact that it is hard to get everybody on the same page. And I also feel like there's a lot of resentment towards Cody from the family because even the ones that do follow the rules, like Mary, have still been getting punished. There's been no benefits of seeing family members, even though she's doing everything the right way. The rest of the family has picked up on all of this as well, and Cody says it's because he doesn't even trust his own children or his wives. If he doesn't trust his own wives and his own children, then of course they're going to feel some type of way about that and they're not going to want to abide by his rules. So I think it's just really hit this point where the family is extremely broken, and it's most definitely a different dynamic than it has been in years past. In this season, things are completely different, and that is what we see in the very beginning of this episode. We start off with Cody going over to Janelle's home to help her with some outside work, and during his time there, they have yet another discussion about the rules and how they're going to get the family to abide by them so that they can all be together for the holidays. For those of you who don't know, this specific episode was actually filmed this past November, right before Thanksgiving and Christmas, so that's why we've been hearing them talk so much about what they're going to do for the holidays, because here it is, November, and they still don't even have a clue what they're going to do. During this conversation, Cody is sounding like a broken record at this point, letting Janelle know once again that if the family doesn't abide by these rules, they're not going to be able to get together, yada, yada, yada. And unfortunately, Janelle is in a rock and a hard place in this situation because not only is she trying to please her husband, but she's also trying to support her kids' choices in life as well and be there for them because she's their mother. And I'm sorry, but for Cody to basically tell her she has to choose between her kids and him after he's not even been around for months, that's a really shitty thing for him to do. Shortly after that, we cut to the scene where she's outside with the kids talking to them about this for probably the 1000th time. And let's just say things really hit the fan.
The whole family to get together. It requires everything we're doing now. Masks, distancing, hand sanitizer. But it also requires, when we go to the grocery store, we change clothes when we come home. We wipe down our mail or let it sit outside for 24 hours. And that we wipe down our groceries when we come home.
Cool. See you February.
It's everything we're doing now except for the groceries and the mail.
And the changing clothes, and the not seeing my girlfriend, and the not getting a job, and the...
We will do it. We'll tell Dad that we did it.
No,
Because it'll give him the peace of mind.
No, that doesn't work.
That works for
You
me.
can never do that, honey.
Dad wants to play stupid games. We can play along.
You'd be lying to
We
Dad.
got Gabe and I
Well,
got
I'm sorry, it's been 8 months since I've been able to hang out with my dad. Of course I'm gonna rebel a little. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm freaking tired of it. Someone could have gotten pregnant and had a baby in the time that we haven't seen Dad.
Do we want to spend Thanksgiving with the whole family?
Yes.
Yeah.
It would require
Okay, we'll do it.
no social life.
No socializing. We'll do it.
Nope.
You can spend Thanksgiving with Dad. Gabe and I will
go and find a hotel.
No, it's very unfair for Mom as well, because you guys don't want to do it, and Dad doesn't want to do it, and Mom's in this, like, really hard place.
That's what we're saying to Mom right now. We're saying, Mom, you should do it, but I can't do that. I can't agree with that.
I'm sure Mom
Garrison, you can do this and tear apart our family. I don't care.
The anger and resentment that these children hold against their father is real. And honestly, I can't blame them, because if what Garrison is saying is true and he's not spent any quality time with his father in 8 to 9 months, that is completely outrageous. And for Cody to use the excuse that they are grown and adults and they don't need their dad like that is absolutely wrong. Your age has nothing to do with wanting to have a relationship with your parents. I cannot help but to have a soft spot for these boys, because I do know how it feels to want to have your father in your life and him just not want to be there. And let me tell y'all, I'm 30 years old with 3 kids, and I still talk to my mama on a daily basis, and we make a point to get together as a family because it is important. I think the saddest part about all of this is this particular family used to be extremely close. I mean, they basically lived right on top of each other for years. And we as the viewers have watched as this family has worked together to navigate through some of the toughest battles of their lives. The foundation of this family has always been family. So the fact that they are now separated for months, of course that's going to be a challenge. And of course, all of the children in this situation, young and old, are going to have resentment towards their dad, because he is the one that has made these rules. He is the one who has put a wedge in their family. Fast forward to the part where Janelle goes to visit with Robin because it's her birthday and she had bought her some gifts. And I found this part to be extremely interesting because in prior episodes, Robin hasn't had a lot to say aside from supporting Cody and his rules. We did see in the last episode that Robin got very emotional whenever they started talking about these rules, because apparently people in the family are starting to think that she is the one behind all of this. I did a whole video on that situation last week. If you missed it and you want to go check it out, I will link it in the description down below. But in this week's episode, it seems that Miss Robin has also hit her breaking point with Cody, and she had a lot to say.
Cody and I have been married for about 10 and a half years. And throughout those 10 and a half years, I've had Cody at my house like once or twice a week. Lately, it's been constantly. And, you know, I'm sure that every plural wife is like, woo, that's the way you want it. And I'm like, but that's not what I signed up for, I guess you'd say. And then on top of that, he's been really unhappy. He's been a very unhappy person. And so it's been a lot. And it's been a challenge for our relationship. It's not what I signed up for. I mean, I know this sounds just really funky, but like I had, you know, people that wanted to date me and that I was, you know, kind of, you know, friendly with or whatever, that talked about living, you know, that wanted to, you know, get more serious. One, you know, a couple wanted to marry me kind of a thing. And I was like, no, I want to live plural marriage. Yeah. Sounds like I'm like bragging or something, but I'm not. It's just, this is the truth. I had proposals before Cody and I turned them down and I said, no, I want to live plural marriage. And here I am. And I'm like, hey guys, I want to live plural marriage. Kind of horrified in ways because I've been like, wait, I thought we were this cohesive unit. We haven't been. And it's been a huge disappointment for me.
I really was surprised by this because I don't know, this past season, I've really been under the understanding that Robin wants Cody to herself. So to hear her say that she's been disappointed in the way that things are going and the fact that they are not living plural was kind of shocking to me, because it does seem that Robin is extremely obedient of everything Cody says and does, and she truly does support his every move. But after hearing what she said in this episode, it makes me think that maybe she does push back and they do have those conversations behind the cameras. No matter what the dynamic is, the one thing that seems to be for certain is the fact that none of Cody's quote unquote marriages are on steady ground right now. And in my personal opinion, he has no one to blame but himself. But there is one sister wife who disagrees. Y'all already know we got to talk about Miss Meri Brown. As most of you are probably aware, Meri and Cody's relationship has not been in good standing. But that has not stopped Meri from putting in that effort, honey, and trying to make it work. And I don't know about you guys, but with each episode, my heart breaks a little bit more for Meri because she's putting in all this effort and work to try to get to a good place with Cody, and Cody isn't even giving her an inch. He has made it very aware that his feelings towards her are not the same and he's done. But with each episode, we see Mary sitting there just waiting for Cody to come around. And of course, this week was no exception. At the end of this episode, they all get together as a family again to discuss what they're going to do for the holidays. During this time, both Janelle and Christine let Cody know that they're not going to be around for Thanksgiving. After talking to their children again about Cody's rules, they all came to the conclusion that his rules just are not acceptable. And both of the ladies make it very clear that they're not going to allow Cody to dictate what they do for Thanksgiving. As you can imagine, Cody was not happy about this, and he vocalized the fact that he thought that the ladies were being very selfish and not thinking about the family at all. And when he said this, y'all, Janelle lost her ever-loving mind. Not only did she leave the family meeting early, but on her way out, she told Cody to F off. And I ain't gonna lie, I was sitting there rooting her on the whole time. But of course, Mary had to step in and give her 2 cents as well.
Every time I see somebody on social media getting together with their friends, hanging out, and I'm like, I want to do that. I want to be with my people, you know? And I literally have spent the summer here. It's a little bit frustrating because everybody's been complaining and making comments. Why can't we get together? Why can't we get together? Well, now we can, and you choose not to. What have I been doing, like, for the past 6 months? Why have I been doing this, you know? What am I supposed to say? You know, he's spending the time at Robin's because she's following the rules. He's not spending the time at Christine's because she's not following the rules. He's not spending the time at my house because he just doesn't spend time at my house. But I'm following the rules. I honestly don't even know what to say here, how I can even contribute to this conversation.
It's so hard to see Mary going through this each episode. I see her trying really, really hard to make things work for the family and between her and Cody, and it never seems to work for her. She doesn't get any leeway or any benefits from everything that she does. I fully believe that we all have our own breaking points, and I don't know what it's going to take for Mary. I truly don't, but I know one day she will reach her breaking point as well. But for the other ladies, it seems like they're already there. Like I said from the beginning, this episode was definitely a detrimental one when it comes to the dynamic of this family and where they go from here. And I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about all of this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this recap and you want to stay in the loop with the Sister Wives, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing before you go, and tapping the bell for post notifications. That way you are notified every single time I upload. I appreciate all of y'all to the moon and stars, and until the next time, mwah. Bye guys!